If you haven't seen Kipo in the Age of Wonderbeasts yet, I'd recommend watching all 3 seasons before this video because this will have tons of spoilers. You can also check out my video on why you should watch Kipo if you haven't heard of it before. But anyway, let's get into talking about the final season of Kipo. So obviously, I love this show a lot. Everything about it is so fun and well written, and it's full of absolute bops. But season 3 really blew my expectations out of the water. I liked seasons 1 and 2 for sure, but season 3 is so good. Everything from Scarlemagne's redemption to examining why Emilia will never join them to their 5 years later looks is just chef's kiss. This is a series that built up a lot of expectations and then delivered on them flawlessly. For now, let's start with talking about Scarlemagne. Through season 1, Scarlemagne is hyped up as the big bad guy of this universe. He seems to be the well-established big scary force who everyone on the surface is afraid of. And since the show spends an entire season hinting at that, he seems like one formidable opponent by season 2, and you could reasonably expect him to be the main villain of the entire series. I was kind of expecting him to make some sort of getaway at the end of season 2 so that he could rebuild his army and come back for season 3, but the show takes a much better route by setting up Dr. Emilia as the villain for season 3. We'll talk more about her soon, but as far as Scarlemagne goes, his backstory is downright tragic and extremely well written. He was originally named Hugo and raised in a lab by Kipo's parents where he was never allowed any freedom. Even though Kipo's parents did grow attached to him and wanted to help him, they still thought it was best to keep him locked up until they could enact their plan to escape. But when things went wrong and the burrow was destroyed, Leo had to make a choice. Kipo or Hugo, his human daughter or his mute son. He chose to run and protect Kipo rather than go back and look for Hugo, because going back for Hugo could mean endangering Kipo. That's a hard choice, but I think most people would agree that he made the wrong choice. Even Kipo was appalled to hear that her dad didn't go back to look for Hugo. Up until then, we kind of saw Leo through Kipo's eyes as someone who was perfect, kind, loving, and could do no wrong. But through Scarlemagne's backstory, we see that Leo isn't the flawless person we once thought. He made a very bad decision that hurt Hugo so bad that he decided to become Scarlemagne and work to subjugate the other mutes. I love the complexity in that, the moral grayness of it, and the way it makes us rethink how we see Leo. Nobody can exist on that pedestal of being perfect all the time. Even good, kind people can make terrible mistakes that have dire consequences for others. A tragic backstory for a villain is nothing new, but the way that this one is done, it's not just about Scarlemagne, it's about Leo and it's about Kipo. When Scarlemagne tells Kipo what happened, Kipo has the chance to defend her dad, to say, no, my dad would never do that, or my dad had to do that to save me, or something like that. But she doesn't. She gets upset with her dad and she hugs Scarlemagne. She chooses to see Leo as a complex person and she chooses to empathize with Scarlemagne. That doesn't mean she hates her dad now. She goes to him afterwards and makes it clear that she still loves him, but she shows that it's possible to love someone and criticize them, to love someone and admit that they did something terrible. And with Scarlemagne, Kipo does her best to show him that he's doing the wrong thing, that he's hurting people, that he doesn't have to choose this path. I actually love that she is unable to get him to switch sides by the end of season 2, because it sets him up to have this amazing season-long redemption arc over season 3. The episode where she keeps trying to have him interact with other mutes and he keeps causing havoc and running away is one of my favorites, both because it's funny and because it shows the effectiveness of extreme empathy, of rehabilitation, of helping people become better. So often when someone does something bad, the reaction is to punish them or hurt them, not try to help them and reintegrate them into society. Kipo had every opportunity to banish Scarlemagne or kill him or lock him away somewhere, but she didn't. She worked hard to help him see how he could be better, even when it meant risking the entire alliance that she had built. I think that's a really beautiful lesson in restorative justice. And his apology was perfect. It was sincere and heartfelt, and he had to experience them rejecting his apology. They threw stuff at him and hated him, and instead of getting angry about that, he understood. He saw that they were right to be angry with him, and so he offered the most sincere apology he could, saying that they didn't have to forgive him, but that he's sorry. That's how you should apologize for hurting people. You should know that they might not be able to forgive you, that you might have hurt them too bad. You shouldn't expect them to immediately forgive you and for everything to be fine. So Hugo accepts that and apologizes in a fully selfless way. The other mutes admit that it might take more time before they're truly able to forgive him, and he understands that. After all of that emotional growth, though, it really makes it the saddest possible moment when he dies at the end. I do think killing a character to redeem them is a bit cliche, but wow, it really had me me crying in the moment. He just came so far from how we were introduced to him, and he finally got to be part of a family. Now, let's talk about Dr. Amelia, because I think she is the perfect contrast to Hugo. Whereas Hugo was lashing out because he was hurt, Dr. Amelia simply hated anything that was different from her. Their motivations came from completely different places, and the show makes it super clear that not everyone is going to come around if you give them enough chances. Some people just have too much hate embedded too deep in their heart. The show makes this apparent when we get a look into Dr. Amelia's past, and we watch her kill her own brother when he suggests that maybe mutes aren't that bad. She's willing to do anything, including kill the people she loves, if it means eradicating mutes from the world. Even her brother couldn't stop her, and although Kipo tries to help her, Dr. Amelia is unwavering in her mission. So at the end, when the humans and mutes have become friends and it's clear that Dr. Amelia has lost, even then, she can't put down her weapons. She wants to keep fighting, to keep hating the mutes, no matter what. There's nothing there that you can redeem. Empathy is good. Reintegrating someone back into society and giving them many chances is good. But if they are determined to hate and won't give it up no matter what, then you might have to accept that some people won't change. Some people can't be reasoned with and simply need to be shunned. In this case, it's pretty convenient that Fun Gus is there to trap her so that the main characters don't have to deal with, like, banishing her somehow, but it works for the kind of goofy story this is. And that's part of what I love about this story too, is that it manages to have both these incredible lessons and great writing while being set in this hilarious and goofy post-apocalyptic world. The humming bombers, the timber cats, the K-pop narwhals, they're all just so fun and original. It's a perfect balance of joyful entertainment and intense storytelling. Plus, the casual queerness we get this season with Benson trying to ask Troy to prom is amazing. And it turns out that Troy was going to ask him, and his dad was standing in the background with flowers ready to help out. It's just so cute and really had me tearing up. And I just love that a relationship between two guys can just be so normal on a show like this. It's not a coming out story or a big dramatic thing. They're literally just a super cute couple having normal couple things happen. I love them so much. As far as overarching themes go, I think it's pretty clear what Kipo in the Age of Wonderbeasts is trying to say. Empathy is good. Coming together and accepting our differences is good. Being scared of people who are different from you is bad. It's obviously a very pro-diversity, anti-xenophobia show, and I love that about it. I think those are incredibly important ideals. The thing I like the most about how they did it, though, is that it avoids a lot of the common pitfalls of stories like these. I can think of a bunch of examples of shows or movies that try to have a discrimination analogy with some kind of other species, but they often end up coming out clunky and awkward and maybe not saying exactly what they were intending. But with Kipo, the fantastical setting is so far detached from what we know in our world that I think it helps it feel more like its own world rather than just a clunky metaphor for ours. It certainly relates to our world in important ways, but it's not a direct one-to-one analogy with any form of discrimination in our world, and that helps it feel more genuine and avoids a lot of the common problems you tend to see in those kinds of stories. In the end, what we see with Kipo is a story of a whole bunch of very different mutes and humans coming together to celebrate their differences and work together to stop those who would try and tear them apart and pit them against each other. It really is a beautiful message about the importance of not tolerating the intolerant, of standing up to hateful people, and showing that we are always stronger if we work together and celebrate what makes us unique. And at the end of it all, we get this glimpse into what everyone is doing 5 years later, and oh my god, they are all so cool. I love these character designs so much. Look at Kipo's hair, look at how big Mondu got. I love this group of friends so much, and I love how perfectly the finale episode wrapped everything up. When shows get canceled early and end on some kind of cliffhanger, or get extended for endless seasons past their original storyline, it can really rob them of a lot of their impact. But Kipo was obviously planned for 3 seasons. It builds everything up and then resolves it masterfully in those seasons, making the finale so satisfying. I just love this show so much. For me, it's a top tier show up there in the ranks of The Last Airbender, Korra, and She-Ra. But what did you think of the show? What was your favorite part of Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked this video, feel free to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. I'd also really appreciate your support over on Patreon. Your support there would allow me to continue making videos like this one, and I would really appreciate it. You can check out my Patreon using the link in the description. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.